to the office, to the gas station? Will it be enough to keep us well in the midst of plague that has not passed over? Now we wonder, worry, wish for answers. Dayenu. It would have been enough. It will be enough again. If the story of Passover is told and teaches us how to live in this time, it will be enough. If the stories of our ancestors bring us hope for tomorrow, it will be enough. If we join together in remembering that we all come from people who have survived again and again, it will be enough this year as it is each and every year. Dayenu, it will be enough that we are together today. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning, I'm Kristen Gustafson, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm going to light the chalice. Do that before I forget. And if you could join me in saying the words listed in your program. For holy days on which we recall the old stories, we light the flame. For Passover, which reminds us of the courage and strength of those seeking freedom in the past, we light the flame. For gathering today in this sacred space, we light the flame. For the opportunity to be together as a community, to remember the past, to plan for our future, to be alive in the present.
Now this reading is called Passover by Lynn, Unger. They thought they were safe that spring night when they daubed the doorways with sacrificial blood. To be sure, the angel of death passed over them, but for what? 40 years in the desert, without a home, without a bed, following new laws to an unknown land. Easier to have died in Egypt or stayed there a slave, pretending. There was safety in the old familiar, but the promise from those first naked days outside the garden is that there is no safety, only the terrible blessing of the journey you were born through a doorway marked in blood. We are, all of us, passed over, brushed in the night by terrible wings. Ask that fierce presence whose imagination you hold. God did not promise that we shall live, but that we might, at last, glimpse the stars, brilliant in the desert sky.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi, y'all. I'm the Reverend Julianne Lepp, and thank you so much for being here with us this morning on this beautiful sunny day, and as we celebrate our source of Judaism with our topic of Passover. And this morning, our 50-50 Share the Plate recipient for April is the Chippewa Valley Transit Alliance. And for those in person, we have a little handy-dandy scan code, and also people will be coming around with a basket. And for those of you online, you can donate online through our website, or you can also text to give at 84321. Thank you so much for being with us today, and the offering will now be given and very gratefully received. precious day, for all gathered here, as far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered, oh, gathered here, and this far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. One more time. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered, oh, gathered here, and this far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Someday, we are going to sing that all together as a congregation again. That's one of my favorite songs. I invite you now to join us in saying the words that give thanks for our giving. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. And now the wonderful Sue will be telling us all a story. And it's really fun to hear stories as adults and all ages, so I'm excited.
So this is called The Grandmother's Lesson. It's a contemporary story by Elisa Davy Pierman, based on the Jewish tradition of the Passover Seder. But first, we must set the scene. Hanallah, Hanallah, please open the door for Elijah. Once upon a time, there lived a brother and sister named Leah and Sam, who were about your age, Hanallah. They were Jewish, and Passover was their favorite holiday because there was so much to do. The day before the Seder, they would help sweep the house clean of all breadcrumbs, help set the table with special Passover dishes, and put an extra chair and cup for Elijah the prophet. Then, on the evening of Passover, the relatives would arrive, and the Seder would begin just after sunset. One year, they came to a place near the end of the Seder where their father poured wine into Elijah the prophet's goblet and asked the children to go and open the door for him. This was one of their favorite parts because it was so mysterious. They ran to the door and looked up and down the street. Sorry. They didn't see anyone except the new children next door. They had just moved from Haiti, and they were playing in their yard. No Elijah. Leah came back to the table feeling sad. "Where is Elijah?" she asked. "Every year we pour him wine and open the door, but he never comes. What does he look like? Will he ever come for Passover?" Her parents looked at grandmother. I have seen him, she said, though I didn't realize it at first. Elijah comes in many disguises. I saw him long ago when I was about your age. One cold day, just before Passover, I was minding my younger brothers and sisters, and my mother was resting. There was a knock at the door. I opened the door, and there stood a beggar. He was dressed in rags and had an old sack over his back. I saw that his shoes were full of holes. "May I come in and sit by your fire and have some food?" he asked. "I'm so hungry and cold." I knew we were not a wealthy family. My parents worked hard and still had barely enough for a simple meal, let alone a Passover feast. "We have nothing extra for you," I said, and I shut the door. I peeked out the window and saw the beggar walk to our next-door neighbor's house. The neighbors had even less than we did since the father had died. The mother worked very hard, taking in sewing, but she had many mouths to feed. I was sure that she would turn the beggar away, but I saw her open the door and invite him in. The next day, my mother was cooking our Passover meal, and I was setting the table. Suddenly, there came a cry from the kitchen. Our dog had grabbed the chicken from the counter, knocking over the apple raisin pudding my mother was preparing. When my father got home, he found us sitting and crying. There was no money to buy another chicken or to make another dessert to celebrate our Passover. We were still sitting and crying when we heard a knock on the door. It was our poor neighbor. She smiled at us and said, "It seems that misfortune has come to you. I would like to invite you to celebrate Passover at our home this evening. I don't have much, as you know, but somehow I was able to make more matzah balls than usual from my flour, and my soup kettle is full." My parents thanked her and promised to bring the foods they had prepared that had not been spoiled. After our neighbor had gone, my mother asked me, "Who was that knocking at our door while I was resting yesterday?" I said it was a beggar. I told him we didn't have enough and sent him away. "Where did he go?" she asked. "To the neighbors?" I shrugged. My parents looked at each other. "Do you know who that beggar was?" my father asked. "No." "That was the prophet Elijah," my mother said. "He comes to see if we are helping to make the world a better place by being welcoming and generous." We had a wonderful Passover with our neighbors. We found that we had shared from our kitchen. There was plenty for all. When it came to the part in the Seder where my father poured wine into the Elijah cup, I asked if I could go and open the door for Elijah. My parents smiled. Grandmother finished the story by saying, "I didn't see Elijah again, but ever since then, I try to treat everyone as if they were Elijah, and I find that there is always enough." When grandmother's story was finished, everyone was quiet. Then Sam asked, "What do you mean that you treat everyone like Elijah, grandmother?" Grandmother looked at them and asked a question. "What was the last kind and welcoming thing that you did for someone?" "Oh, I helped my teacher to carry some books because she was tired," Sam answered. "I invited the new girl at school to play with me and my friends at recess," said Leah. "How did it feel?" asked grandmother. "Good, warm and happy," they replied. That is how it feels to treat everyone like Elijah, grandmother said. Then Leah jumped up from the table. I think Elijah would like us to invite our neighbors to celebrate Passover with us. Can we invite them to our Seder? Mother and father looked at each other and smiled. The new neighbors weren't Jewish. They had recently moved to the neighborhood from Haiti. This was exactly the spirit of welcoming that Elijah taught. Yes, go and tell them that if they would like to join our Seder meal, they will find our door open. It seemed that Elijah did visit that Passover day after all. I actually think I'm up next. Am I? Is it my reflection? I don't have the paper with me. I'll be back. I really enjoy that story. It's the sentiment of treat everyone like Elijah is very much, treat everyone as you would like to be treated, which is a sentiment that I grew up with as a child. When I was thinking about my reflection today, I wanted to talk about what everybody wants in life, right? We all want safety and a roof over our heads and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not everybody gets that. My parents were immigrants from England. They came over on a boat in the New York harbor. And at about 2 a.m., everyone rushed to the side of the boat to see the Statue of Liberty, and they were on the wrong side of the boat. It's not a tragedy, but it makes sense to me, because that's, whatever you plan in life, things just don't work out the way you want them to all the time. But that's part of the joy of living, right? That's part of the joy of coming to a new country or, going on a new adventure. That's part of liberty, being able to do that. So I wanted to address what's going on in the Ukraine. So I started doing some digging around, and I found out that in the late 1800s, there was an organization formed called the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. And they began helping Jewish folks who were refugees, who were leaving their homes because of pogroms, because of bigotry and hatred. And then as time went on, the organization, World War I, World War II, the Holocaust, as time went on, they realized that the world is made up of so many more people than just their Jewish brethren that they were helping. And so, when was it? 2000. In 2000, they began helping non-Jewish refugees and asylum seekers all over the world. So they have put out a Haggadah, and a Haggadah is, I have one. This is a Haggadah. This is not their Haggadah. Their Haggadah is on my computer at home, but this is from PJ Library. And this is a family Haggadah. But a Haggadah is basically a order of service for the Seder. And the Seder is, celebrating the trials and tribulations of the Jewish people as they were enslaved in Egypt and they were freed from Pharaoh's hold. And they're just miracle after miracle kept on paving the way for them to get out. And then there were plagues put upon their oppressors that also helped pave their way to get out of slavery. So I didn't write everything as a script. I'm kind of ad-libbing here. But I wanted to kind of read to you from some of the things that were said in this Haggadah. It's a humanist, it's a refugee, asylum seeker. It's a social justice Haggadah, basically. As a refugee people and immigrant people, we know that anti-Jewish and anti-immigrant hatred are deeply entwined. At Passover, we retell the story of the moment when first these hatreds met thousands of years ago, as Pharaoh declared that the Israelites had become too numerous in Egypt. He felt threatened. He felt like he was losing control, and he was afraid of an uprising, much like Russia's current Pharaoh, who has waged war upon the Ukrainians, causing horrendous death and destruction. Many women, children, and the elderly becoming refugees because of it, leaving men and some women who stayed behind to fight and die for their homeland. Less than a year ago, people fled the tyranny of the Taliban in Afghanistan. I'm proud of us here in Wisconsin, and especially in Eau Claire, for welcoming some of those refugees here. For decades, asylum seekers and refugees have traveled hundreds or even thousands of miles, many times over harsh terrain and water in boats from South America, Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and even Russia to escape tyranny. During Passover, which starts officially on the 15th and runs for 8 days, we remember the 10 plagues that God brought upon the Egyptians when Pharaoh refused to free the Israelites. We have the opportunity now to recognize that the world is not yet free of adversity and struggle. This is especially true for refugees and asylum seekers. Instead of hail, locusts, frogs, the killing of the firstborn children, refugees are dealing with violence, dangerous journeys, poverty, food insecurity, lack of access to education, xenophobia, anti-refugee legislation, language barriers, workforce discrimination, and loss of family. Some of the plagues that are easy for us to sort of, at least me sometimes, to relate to is that, xenophobia, the anti-refugee legislation, hate crimes. It wasn't that long ago, and it's still happening actually, where, Muslims, Jews, anybody who doesn't think like the folks who have hate in their heart, experience violence, assault, abduction. LGBTQ plus folks, which community I am a part of, we can be fired. We're not allowed to say gay in Florida, which doesn't seem like a big deal to some people, but it's putting our youth at risk. Because if you can't talk about yourself or your family at school like everybody else can, what message is that sending our children? That they're not okay. As we lift our voices in song and prayer, we call out together with those who long to be free. This year, there are still many who struggle toward liberation. Next year, may we all be free. From the refugees here in the United States who have joined our community from Afghanistan recently, to Ukrainians fighting for their lives overseas, to migrant workers trying for a better life and safety for their children. Bashana Haba'ah, next year. Shalom Aleichem. May peace be upon you. Thank you.
What does it mean to be free? We talk about that a lot in our country, land of the free. And what exactly are we free from? Or what freedoms are we embracing? Here in the Unitarian Universalist congregation, we celebrate a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And that's assuming that people understand what that freedom means. What does it mean that we can have a service on a Jewish tradition and that we can have a service on humanism or atheism? Last week, the wonderful Reverend Virginia Woolf talked about Buddhism and breath and presence. And yet we look in our country and we have freedom in this sanctuary, but how free are people at our schools, to be who they are? And, recently we had elections where people were concerned about freedoms of books and the freedom for children to talk to their teachers and to identify their worth as a person. And as Sue said, in some states, you can't talk about it at all. It's illegal to talk about your family. That is not freedom. And then we go global, and we have so many concerns. What do we do about the Ukraine? We pray and think or send good thoughts, and we had a vigil and lit our candles, which is wonderful. It shows solidarity. And we had a Ukrainian immigrant who led a prayer in their traditional Orthodox prayer, and that made them feel heard and seen. But what is it that we can do? We give sanctions, we try and send goods, and we are putting pressure to welcome refugees in our country, just as we are a country of refugees. So I think it's complex when we say we are a free country. We are a people that fight for freedom. And what does it mean to be free? In our diversity of beliefs at the UU, what can we learn from the Passover story told over again and again, generation by generation? What can we learn from the life and personal trials and insights of Moses, one of those well-known prophets? What can we make of the story of the Jewish people led from slavery only to find themselves wandering in the desert, lost and disgruntled and unhappy for 40 long, difficult years? I think wandering in the desert for 40 years feels like the pandemic to me. And I'm not discounting the story, but I feel like our whole world is wandering in the desert, looking to be set free, looking to find answers and liberation. And when we meet in spaces like this and hear diverse voices and hear children lifted up and people lifted up for who they are, I feel that crack opening and that hope rising and that fever to do something, to be something, to try harder, to really speak up for freedom. And so while I wish there was an easy answer to liberate us from war and suffering, our world is constantly struggling with that, right? We're struggling with, why do bad things happen to people, to good and wonderful people? What do we do about that? Psychologist Erich Fromm wrote in a book in 1941 about our tendency to want to escape from freedom, how the responsibility that comes with freedom can be so uncomfortable we want to escape it. We allow ourselves to become enslaved by something or someone that tells us what to think or to say, by things that distract us, by anything that gives us comfort or security. So we can think of, how often we doom scroll on social media or at night when we flip on the TV and we're distracted. And sometimes we need that escape. But sometimes maybe someone's struggling with addiction or struggling with anxiety or struggling with so much. Or perhaps we're letting someone have undue influence on what we think or what we say. And I know some of us come from religious traditions that told us what to think or say, and that's why we ended up in places like this. So what does it mean to be free? I think it means to struggle, to work hard, to care. And sometimes right now, caring hurts. It hurts me to turn on the television and watch the images from Ukraine and know that people are suffering. To know that people are suffering right now in Rwanda. And what can we do? And I think the biggest thing is that we put on our own oxygen mask first, right? That's what they tell you when you get on the plane. Put on your own oxygen mask first if you lose altitude. Well, folks, we've been losing altitude for about 2 or 3 years now. So I'm here to tell you, if you haven't put on your oxygen mask, it might be a good time. I got a massage on Friday. Oh my goodness. It was the best. And sometimes that seems so first world decadent and wonderful. But you know what? I put on my oxygen mask. And I took some days off and went to Wabasha, went to the river, went to a little cute chocolate shop near the Eagle Center. I was not marching or shouting or singing, but I was refilling my cup. And that way, now, I'm ready. I'm ready to, get that phone call, write that letter, speak up, show up. And I think we have to be liberated too, Life is hard. Life is really hard. And there's so much beauty and joy that we hold that suffering, hold that sense of obligation and balance. And so when Sue told us that story about welcoming people to our table, I'm so excited now that at least at this moment in time, we can maybe feel like inviting people over or having coffee. I've been having coffee with people in the congregation, and it feels like a liberation to see your faces, to feel that energetic exchange of love and care. And so when we think about captivity, sometimes that captivity is our own. We put it on ourselves, and sometimes for good reason, but sometimes releasing that fear, taking care of ourselves, means that we can move into something new. So what is your desert? What is your 40 days in the desert? Who is your Elijah? What angel is waiting to knock on your door and let him in and be a guest at your table? Maybe Elijah is yourself. Maybe you're letting yourself come into being. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Thank you. We have one last musical treat for you. I think we're. Can you guys hear us okay?
I
Yeah?
cannot hear myself. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
We're on.
So, at the end of a Seder, after all of the 4 cups of wine, thank you, I can hear myself now, prayers, discussion, rituals, feasting has been done, then it's time to sing. So unfortunately, we cannot do congregational singing, but Julie and I are going to sing a traditional Hebrew folk song that is over 1,000 years old and is traditionally sung at the end of the Passover meal, the Seder. It is not a pretty melodious song, it's a ruckus song. There are a total of 15 verses, but today we will sing only 3, both in Hebrew and English. So technically that's 6. The word dayenu roughly translates to "it would have been enough for us." The song is about being grateful for God for all of the gifts that God gave the Jewish people. For example, bringing them out of slavery in Egypt, the parting of the Red Sea, etc. Okay. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Ilu hotzianu, hotzianu mi Mitzrayim, hotzianu mi Mitzrayim, dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Had he brought us out of Egypt, only brought us out of Egypt, had he brought us out of Egypt, dayenu, 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 dayenu. Ilo natan lanu et haTorah, natan lanu et haTorah, dayenu, 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 dayenu. Had he given us the Torah, only given us the Torah, had he given us the Torah, dayenu, dayenu, dayenu. Dayenu, dayenu, dayenu. Ilu natan latu et hataja. Dayenu. I'm tired. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. One more. Had he given us the Sabbath, only given us the Sabbath, had he given us the Sabbath, dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. One more. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Yes, thank you.
And dayenu means
It would have been enough.
it would have been enough.
Mm-hmm.
Please join me in saying the words in the program for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
For our closing words today, Go in Peace, Seeking Justice by Jim McGaw. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go in mindless oblivion. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go without challenging yourself or others. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go in utter ease and comfort. When I say go in peace, I mean go in peace, seeking justice. I mean go in peace, committed to equal rights and opportunities for all. When I say go in peace, I mean go in the peace that is created when together we build communities of true solidarity, deep compassion, and fierce, unrelenting love. Go in peace. Shalom.